So let's talk about the process of the week. This is one of my favorite processes, and I like to do it first just to hopefully get you all excited about how you can use a library process. So this process is called Key Performance Indicators, and you can download it here from the library, just like I showed you before in the general library. I'm in Guiding the Business now, in case you didn't see that. So this is a Guiding the Business process. So you'd go to the library and download it from the Guiding the Business. So this process is called Key Performance Indicators. This is a term that's thrown around a lot. It doesn't. You may name it something else. You may call it just key indicators or results or metrics or statistics. I like the term Key Performance Indicators. If you don't like it, you want to change it. This is a library process. You just select it and change it. Everything is editable. So the idea of this process is that every function of the business, so if you think about the 4 key functions here, every key function has metrics or indicators which allow you to see the results of that area. So think about it that way. You've got these upper 4 key areas of your business or departments. Within each of these, there are indicators or numbers which if I look at, I can tell you how your business is doing. And you should be able to know how your business is doing. You could be on the other side of the world, and if someone sent you a report with the key indicators for each 4 of these areas, you should be able to see from those how your business is doing. And that's the value of it. So this process helps you to identify those key indicators and then evaluate them, create them, measure them. You don't have to have fancy software programs, and having a CRM makes it a little bit easier, but these can be forced manually if that's been stopping you. So inside the process, you're going to see some examples of sales indicators, examples of overall financial indicators. There's documents in here which give you examples as well. So like this is operations. Now here again, based on your industry, operations might be different. Productivity is a pretty common indicator for service and production, retail, all of it, productivity. If you're in manufacturing, you might get into things like returns, defects, retention for a service business. So think about what are these big overall indicators which let you know whether your operations is on track or not. Advertising and sales indicators, so leads generated, that's another common one. So you can do leads generated by source, like social media or referrals, or you can do leads generated just overall. Again, I think people get hung up on making sure that it's absolutely perfect. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Just start somewhere. If you could tell me how many leads came in this month just by asking people or having people do a little tick sheet. If you don't have a CRM, hopefully most of you do have CRMs by now, but if you don't, just start adding it up and just say in general how many leads are coming in every month. For sales, here's sales and marketing indicators here. Conversion rate, that's the obvious one for sales, which is really important. Follow-up rate, how many people who say no to you are then followed up with in the next 30 days. You can have human resource indicators. So this would be running the business, like employee turnover, employee training. How many employees are trained thoroughly in their job, employee morale. There are a lot of ideas for indicators that are on the internet as well. So you'll read, a few in here, but you can also pull information from the internet on your industry, what overall good indicators are. Indicators for the business overall, strategic indicators, are going to be as simple as sales, gross profit, net profit. Those 3 are key. If you, again, were on the other side of the world and I told you what sales were this month, what your gross profit and what your net profit was, you're going to know, that's going to be pretty good, right? You're going to know if you're on track or not, at least for that month. So what this process is about is identifying the indicators and keep them simple. Do 2 or 3 per department, 2 or 3 per function, and then start to measure them. So this gives you like a little tracking form. It also gives you a custom form that you can do it in. So this is the review period. This is sales conversion rate. Is it average or below average? And then comments. So this is built in the custom form tool, and I'll show you in another minute here how we can use that in the dashboard. But this is as simple as it needs to be. So you'd say to your sales manager, I want to know every month what the conversion rate is. How many leads came in and how many of those converted to a sale? What the upsell rate is. Whatever makes sense for you is in terms of your industry, but 9 times out of 10 people need to measure conversion rate. Is it average or below average? If it's below average, why? And that's what the comment section is for. So there's another thing that I think is really cool about this as well, and it has to do with processes and process documentation. If I'm the sales manager and I sent this report to the president and we're below average on our conversion rate, and I'm sending off that report, what I should be asking myself is, how do I get the conversion rate up? How do I make it better? And that points to process. So this is teaching your employees and yourselves how to take action on things, because I can't just hope that it's better. I want to take action to make sure that it's better. So I would go back to getting the business, and I would go to our sales process. I would go to our follow-up process, and I would sit with the salespeople and say, this is how it's supposed to be working. What's not going well here? If this was a advertising number and the social media advertising was down for the month, I would go to that process and I would say, what's going on with this number? So each of these, the point I'm making is each of these indicators is telling a story about something that happened in the business. And if you can backtrack it to what created that story and improve that, then you're going to improve the number. Then you're going to improve the indicator. And this is why documentation of a business, process documentation, is so fabulous. Because if I'm looking back at the sales process saying, how can we make this better? If it doesn't exist, if it's not documented, I just have people saying things, I can't really do anything to change it. But if it is documented, now I've got something to work with. I can say how to improve it, how to make it better, how do we make the documentation better, how do we retrain people, how do we get them to use the process. Now as a manager, I have control. And it all starts with just simple evaluation. So key indicators, think about implementing and using this. Before I let you go, let me just show you what this looks like in the dashboard. So this is the front end, the dashboard. I'm the sales and marketing manager. These are all my processes that I have in TouchStone, everything on my job description. I would go to the key performance indicator process once a month. I can collapse all these down so it's easier to see. I'd go to the custom form, click it open. I can save this as Q1 2017. I can put in notes here. Review period, that's a bit redundant, but you can put in the review period. What is the conversion rate? 50%. It's below average. I can put in why. This is what I'm going to do about it. This is a good thing to do as a manager, as long as you can spell. Force them to say, what are they going to do about it? Then they save it. Then at the end of the month, I, as the president, run a report, and I see all these key indicator forms. Oh, this is going to run a huge report. But I'm just showing you, like here, I can do a date range, hit run report, and now I'm going to see, here's that key indicator report I just saved. So the president goes in, runs a management report, sees the key indicators, looks at them and says, analyzes them. So this idea of the dashboard is forcing people into using the processes and to follow them. So as we go through all the rest of these sessions, I'm going to be looping back to the dashboard and kind of encouraging you and showing you how you can use processes within the dashboard.